Hey y'all, my name's Jen. I'm a health and life coach on a mission to empower women, and this season I call the messy middle. We believe it's never too late to dream your wildest dreams and to build lives freed from the shoulds and have-tos. Here, we talk to ourselves like we do our girlfriends and our sisters and daughters. I will share stories and resources with lots of encouragement and a little bit of tough love to drive you toward action. In this podcast, we talk about everything: career, relationships, motherhood, and health. So grab your sneakers and let's go, because she's wild and freed. Hey everyone. Welcome back to another episode of She's Wild and Freed. I am so grateful that you're here today to talk about something that's just a really important subject, in my opinion. And I wanted to share some of the learnings that I've had and hopefully some words of wisdom to help you in your journey as we are just navigating this thing called life. So this is a free form episode. I do these once in a while and actually really love this format where I have some bullet points. I have some ideas of what I want to talk about, but I also just free form it. I just talk about things as they come up. But today we are going to ask the question, what is your body trying to tell you? And so why I'm bringing this up is I've had a couple of things happen in my life and my health journey where I've had some chronic issue, and the issue does not go away with going to the doctor or having a myriad of tests or things to try to figure out what's going on. And so it's not to say we don't continue to go to our doctor and develop that relationship. And I'll talk about that during this episode. But these two things that seem to have no answers for went away after a stressful situation was out of my life. And it's dawned on me that there's something to this. I've done a little research, I've done a little reading on it, and I want to share with you. Not because, I'm healed from a chronic situation, because I know it's not that simple for many of us, but to really tune in to what our bodies are telling us. There's a lot of wisdom in this form that we have here on Earth, and I want to encourage you to really try to listen in, tune in to your bodies. All right, so let's dive right in. So first off, I thought I would bring back up a subject that I started with sort of early in this podcast journey, which is the 3 C's to improve your life. So if you'd like to go back and listen to those episodes, I would love it for you to do that. Go back and hear what it sounded like and what we talked about for those 3 C's. But the one we're going to talk about today is the first C, which is curiosity, or getting curious about our lives. So if you're curious, that episode is the 5th one, or number 5 in this podcast. But with thinking about being curious about things, how can you get curious about the signals your body is sending you? So let's think about it. Maybe you get headaches at a certain time of day, every day. It's a tension headache. It starts in the traps or shoulders, moves up to your head. What is your body trying to tell you there? Yeah, it's work. We definitely can develop some tension around work. Maybe that's it. Or maybe you get winded when doing certain exercise or in a certain place. So being outside, no big deal. You can walk and enjoy the sunshine and the fresh air. But being in a gym, brings your anxiety levels up so you get more winded. These are just examples that I'm throwing out there. For me, I'll talk about two things, as I mentioned at the very beginning or the top of this episode, of things that I was hearing my body, but not really listening to what it was trying to tell me. So the first thing happened to me when I was in high school. I started to develop chronic stomach pains. It wasn't upset. It was a pain that hurt all the time, hurt every day. It didn't matter what I ate, what I didn't eat. And so, like most parents, they took me to the doctor to get this checked out. And the diagnosis was heartburn. As a teenager, I accepted that. I took prescription strength, I think it was Prilosec, for heartburn, and that did nothing for me. So we went back to the doctor, and he just upped my prescription, made it a stronger strength. And this happened, I think, 2 or 3 times. I can't recall the exact details, but I remember even telling my doctor, but it doesn't burn. I'm not having a burning sensation. Isn't that what quote unquote heartburn is? But that was what they kept telling me. I even went through an endoscopy. So if you don't know what that is, that's when they stick a scope down your throat down your esophagus into your stomach to look around to see if there's any issues, because I could not shake these stomach pains. And this went on for quite some time. The endoscopy, they said I had a couple of quote unquote hot spots, but really it was normal stuff that shows up in this text. Nothing showing that I had any big issues or issues. And the medication wasn't working either. But then one day, those stomach pains stopped. Like poof, they were gone. And during that time, that moment, I didn't know why. I just know they were gone. I was so happy that I wasn't dealing with it day in and day out, and moved on with my life, my teenage life. But it was later in my adulthood that I realized that I had removed something stressful from my life. At that time, it was a boyfriend, but I removed that from my life. He was no longer in my life, and the stomach pains went away. So that's the first example I wanted to share with you all. The second is more recent. So I want to say about 6 years ago, I thought that I had injured myself working out. I was doing kind of a new movement. I think they're called curtsy lunges. So instead of lunging forward or backwards, you are lunging back with one leg, but you curtsy like they do in Bridgerton or something like that. And I had extreme hip pain in my left hip. I mean, to the point that I almost couldn't walk. And if I sat for a long time, which I sit for work or at work, I was not able to get up quickly. So naturally, I went to the doctor. I went to the orthopedic doctor due to this pain. They took x-rays, nothing there. Suggested an MRI. At that point, I was not ready to take that test because I was like, well, wait a minute, what are my other options? And the orthopedic doctor said, well, you could do physical therapy. I don't know if that's going to do anything. And I said, okay, well, I want to try it. So tried physical therapy. Physical therapy was great. However, I felt like I was getting a great workout, but my pain was not going away. So I got some good stretches, which were assisted by the PT, and lots of great movement in my lower body, but the pain was still there. And I tried to describe the pain, And I got a lot of kind of side tips of the head, like, but no one really knew what it was. So after doing some physical therapy, I decided that wasn't right because there was just no improvement at all. I went to a different doctor this time, a sports medicine specialized doctor, and they too suggested an MRI. So I thought, okay, well, I've tried the PT, it didn't work. Let me get this MRI. So I got the MRI on my hip, and they said there was some fraying of the labrum. So the labrum, and I hope I recall this correctly, the labrum is just is like a pad between the ball joint of your hip and your pelvis where it connects. There was some fraying. Now, they didn't tell me this, but I learned later that that's pretty normal and natural with aging. I mean, stuff starts to sort of wear out or wear down. But I did, in turn, decide to try a cortisone shot. I thought, okay, well, there's some fraying. We talked about surgery. Really, we're like, surgery won't give you the results that you want. I don't think you need surgery. I was like, I don't want surgery. So I did the cortisone shot. That did give me a little bit of relief. It certainly felt better for a while. But again, that hip pain was still there. I tried yet another orthopedic doctor later on, had my hip checked out, x-ray. They were able to access the MRI, and they were just like, nothing, we can't see anything wrong in these pictures. Your hip joints, everything looks good. So I left defeated. I dealt with hip pain for, like I said, almost 6 years. And then one day it went away. And again, I removed something pretty stressful from my life, and poof, it was gone. The moral or the lesson of the story for me was definitely, I've got to listen to my body. I've got to tune in, which is really why I'm talking about this today. I've got to tune in to these signals. And there can be other signals for us. I mentioned the tension in the shoulders or the head, digestive distress. We've all encountered those butterflies in the stomach when we're nervous, which is a normal, natural occurrence. But, there could be some situations where you're having distress in your digestive system, around certain things or regularly, just other signals that we can tune into. And I'll share something else. I have this book. It's called The Secret Language of the Body, The Essential Guide to Health and Wellness by, I hope I pronounce her name right. It's either Ina or Inna Segal. So this has all the different parts of the body you can turn to. And the one that I'm going to read today is hips, but you can turn to a different page. There's ears, there's ankles, just thinking about where you may have pain or distress. This is a useful, interesting tool. So, The Secret Language of Your Body, The Essential Guide to Health and Wellness. So when I read about hips, it says possible contributing factors: family problems and disagreements, feeling used, unappreciated, angry, betrayed, deceived, let down, shot down, alienated, experiencing strain, frustration, guilt, lack of support, too much responsibility, feeling unacknowledged, taken advantage of, manipulated. Oof. That list is quite intense. Some are not quite as intense as that, but just interesting read. And then it goes on to give you some remedies or even other areas to read in the book. So, there's the remedy section, and then it has other points of interest, unhealthy emotions to work with, criticism, judgment, frustration, or stuckness. Healthy emotions to work with: clarity, peace, satisfaction, recognition. So, and then it has even colors to work with. I can't say much about these colors. I don't quite understand that piece, to be honest, but each of these emotions that they talk about, like clarity, it has page 197. So you can go to that page and refer to it. So interesting stuff. I appreciate tools like this. I wanted to share with you. I actually heard about this on another podcast. So something to check out if you're interested. Along those lines, what can we do with all of this? If we have some sort of chronic situation or feeling within our body, again, maybe it's happening at the same time of day or around certain people, or it is something that never goes away. What can we do with all this? Well, first of all, please continue to get regular checkups. Yes, I refer to books like this. I tune into my body through meditation and other spiritual practices, but the medical profession certainly has value, and you want to get those regular checkups to have a relationship with your doctor or physician so that they know you, they have a record of things going on. So if something different or prolonged or chronic is going on, you can get the care you need. Because I know that books like this are not going to solve things like cancer, diabetes, some of those things that are really important to take care of. We can also slow down, notice feelings about certain things, notice things that trigger you, times when you are feeling these pains the most. So things I mentioned before, but slowing down, sitting or walking with a feeling. I've talked about this in a few other podcast episodes, but you can get a lot of clarity in those slow, quiet moments. And then, if possible, if this is within your budget or something you have access to, explore other wellness modalities. So, of course, you guys know I really enjoy movement, different kinds of movement. But there's also opportunities with acupuncture. Acupuncture can do wonders for physical pain, but also I had my first session for anxiety. I've never felt so relaxed in that session, a 30-minute session for anxiety with acupuncture. So totally cool and interesting thing to check out or try if you don't have a fear of needles, although you barely feel them, I promise. But if you have a fear of needles, that is definitely scary to have those things poked in all different parts of your body or wherever you're having that pain. Other things are massage or go to a Reiki healer, do yoga or have yoga therapy, work with a therapist or a health coach. So there's other options as you are dealing with or exploring solutions to something that may be going on with your health and your body. Definitely check that out and think through what's going on, feel into the feeling, and don't be afraid to ask for a second opinion. As I mentioned with my hip pain as an adult, I did have that leeway to, and really the confidence to be like, okay, you're saying I need an MRI, but I want to try this first. Or I go to a different doctor, they also recommend an MRI. Okay, well, then I am going to try that. But getting that second opinion, don't be afraid of that. Coming next week, we're going to have another Freed Om meditation. Guided meditation is another great way to get out of your head and into your body and just listen and let go. So come back next week and join me for the summer solstice meditation. This beautiful time in the Northern Hemisphere where we experience the longest amount of sunshine. And summer is officially here with the solstice. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And before you go, please leave a 5-star review and share this episode with a friend. These actions help me get the message out to people who need it and to grow our podcast community. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you feel free to take action toward building the life of your dreams. If something in this episode resonated with you, I would so appreciate it if you would text it to a girlfriend so she can hear the message as well. Until next time, stay wild.